Hey, it's Em, here with a kind of hodgepodge video of various things as I enter the final weekend of the show I'm in and then get ready to go off to the Kauai Writers Conference, hopefully knocking on wood here that flights will not be impacted. And yeah, and then I've got other travel over the next month, so that said, I did finish a book and have some other things to talk about. I will put timestamps in the description in case you don't care about some of this. The book I read was Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents. That's it. I'll put a whatever up here. I picked this up. I don't even know why. I don't know where I heard about it, but I asked for it from the library because the library had it. And it really just put into perspective for me that yes, my mother and potentially my father to a lesser degree, but definitely my mother is an emotionally immature person. It gave me just a sense of, okay, this wasn't just me, and it wasn't just a Gen X thing even, because, you know, it's easy to kind of hand wave and go, oh, well, we were all emotionally neglected. Our parents really didn't care where we were. They had to be reminded on TV at 10 o'clock to check where your kids were or whatever. Yes, but for some of us, being a latchkey kid went a little bit farther. I'm an internalizer is the vocabulary I learned from this book. I gave it 4 stars. It might be more like 3. It's short. It gets the information across. I got it from the library, so I had to do the little like quiz assessment things on paper. If you think you're going to want to do those, you might want to get a copy of the book for yourself. I don't know that it told me anything I didn't know aside from some of the vocabulary and that the signs that I kind of had already seen in my mother in particular, and again, to some degree in my father, but he's a different kind of, because it talks about there are 4 different kinds of emotionally immature people, although obviously there's some blending, right? You know, how those different things impact the children. I'm an only child, so I was the only one impacted. But yeah, it was good. It was fine. It confirmed some stuff for me. It gave me additional perspective on a few things. It didn't really change my life because it is what it is, and I've already, I think, progressed pretty far into the distancing phase of keeping them at a distance because of their behaviors and keeping my own kids somewhat removed from their influences because they are not great influences. So yeah, so that was that book. The other thing I wanted to talk about is I finally ordered, this is gonna have like a bunch of soot on it, isn't it? I finally ordered one of these Mythologie candles. This one is Falling Leaves Rising Nights, Knights. Honestly, it smells almost exactly like dragon's blood incense, which I love. These candles are not inexpensive. I think this is the small one because I wanted to try them. I've seen ads for them. I've had friends recommend them. I am a candle person. For years, it's just been Yankee because we have a Yankee outlet in our town. But I'm always trying new and different ones. Our art festival recently had some hand-poured candles that I really, really like. They're super strong, but I actually, depending on the scent, like my candles to be relatively strong. This one does a good job of filling the space with this scent. It is, like I said, it smells a lot like dragon's blood. It has a wooden wick that has to be trimmed, and it's not easy to trim. I tried even with like nail clippers. It was a little hard to do at first. It's pretty soft. So when I was trying to trim the wick, it was kind of getting wiggly loose, like a loose tooth in there because the actual candle is pretty soft. I think it's soy. But the scent is wonderful. And once I got it trimmed and burning. I've been very pleased with it. I use these little caps to help get an even burn on the candle there. But yeah, I would definitely treat myself to another one or two of these periodically. It's not something I can afford to do regularly because, again, even the small ones are like $35 or $40. But it's really pretty. It smells really good. I have to decide which other scents I might want to try because if you know from past videos, I'm very picky. I don't like anything that smells like food, and a lot of times the descriptor will be like cranberry, but also, you know, forest leaves, and I'm like, well, if it smells like forest leaves, I'm for it, but like if it smells mostly like cranberry, I don't want it. So I can't really tell because almost all of them have some food descriptor along with other things, and I'm like, but how much does it smell like vanilla or, you know, cinnamon or whatever? Like, I don't want it to smell like something I want to eat. I want it to smell like amber or sandalwood or musk or even a floral I'm happy with, but I'm just not somebody who enjoys candles that smell like food baking in a kitchen or whatever. And so, yeah, I'm having trouble figuring out what other scents to try. If you've tried Mythologie candles and you have a favorite scent, let me know. This is not a promo or anything. This is just something I wanted to try, and now I'm passing on the information to those who might be interested. And the final thing I wanted to talk about is that I finished my bingo board. I will put it up somewhere, and so that's super exciting. If you want me to go back and cover the rest of the Iliad books like I was doing, let me know. I was doing that for a while, and then the interest seemed to taper off, and it's a lot of work because I have to take a lot of notes. Well, you know, I need to go back and take notes again for the rest of the books, but I'll do it if enough people want that. Let me know. And I'm going to put up my bingo. I'm going to put up my bingo board for 2026. It will be also on my Blue Sky and my blog at some point if you want to grab a copy for yourself. But we'll go through it real quick. Obviously, the center is just any book. Then there's a foreign setting, you know, square, children's / middle grade, juvenile fiction, I guess. The title has a Z in it somewhere. Supernatural, just meaning that there's a supernatural or magical element to the book. A retelling of some kind. Small town setting, small town related. Translated. A forward title. Turquoise or teal cover, just meaning something in that green-blue family cover, LGBTQ+, memoir biography. Some of these are pretty annual for me, just to make sure I'm not just reading one thing. Grumpy Sunshine, or any disparate personality, really, like any mismatched partnership will do. Less than 300 pages. Those seem harder and harder to find these days. History, fact or fiction, so historical fiction or an actual, you know, book about history of some sort. Royalty. Nonfiction, a bestseller, like something that's popular or was popular. There's no date on that, so it could have been a bestseller back in the day. Theater, so it just has to have some kind of element pertaining to theater, so you could read a play or, you know, something that's meant to be staged, or it could just have that setting that it's set, you know, like a drama class or whatever. Mythical creatures, Southern Gothic, one of my favorite genres. Please send recommendations for that if you have any, because I know it's out and around, but the last couple I tried to read, I ended up DNFing because I just wasn't into it. Illustrated, so a manga or a comic book or a graphic novel or even just a book that has illustrations periodically throughout. 1970s, that could mean that the book was published then. It could mean that it's set in the 1970s. An award winner, of some kind. And witches. So obviously witches are somehow featured in the book. I noticed that I do have a lot of, between supernatural, mythical creatures, and witches, I have a lot of magical kind of things going on there. But maybe just because I don't tend to read a lot of fantasy, but maybe this will prompt me to read more fantasy. This is a year in which I did not put mystery on the board because I tend to read mysteries, and I'm trying to get myself to read things I don't read a lot of, including like popular bestseller type books and award-winning books. I don't read very many retellings. So I did give myself a few, like I always have an LGBTQ plus book on the board because I read those. It's kind of for me an easy square to cover. So that's the board for 2026. And yeah, that's it for now. I am reading Slow Horses, the first book in that series, because I am also watching the television series. I am halfway through season 3 right now, so no spoilers, but I wanted to go ahead and go read at least the first book, which so far mirrors the show pretty closely. Although, I guess I've seen that Jackson Lamb does not actually live in the office, because in the TV series it seems like he almost does, right? But like in the book he has at this point gone home for the night, and so I'm like, oh, he does live somewhere else. I'm loving Gary Oldman as a cranky old man. I'm not sure how much he's acting. Maybe he just really is a cranky old man at this point, but I'd like to think he's at least generally better groomed than Jackson Lamb. So, yeah, that's where I am. And like I said, I've got shows all weekend and a friend visiting from Chicago. And then, like in less than a week, I will be ideally on my way to the Writers' Conference in Hawaii. So I don't know when I'll be making another video, but yeah, and by the way, Manifesting Destiny is out now. And it's on KU, so, you know, you don't have to buy it. You can just go read it if you have Kindle Unlimited. Go check it out. A lot of people are likening it to the old school, the YA from back in the day, Divergent and that kind of thing with the, you know, anything that's got something where you're kind of divided into groups or clans or factions or districts or whatever. It does have that element to it. If you're nostalgic for that kind of YA fiction, then give this one a go. I'm working on the sequel now. Ideally, it'll be out next summer. And yeah, until next time, take care.